Claude 3.7 Sonnet was just released and I just got done testing it. I built a complex snake game that allowed 2 AI snakes to battle each other. I added a superfood that creates a block that can destroy one of the snakes that actually moves and follows the snake around. And all of this was done on the very first try. And I'm going to show you more about that later in the video, but now let me tell you a little bit about Claude 3.7 Sonnet. So 2 things were actually released just now. We have Claude 3.7 Sonnet, which is a big but still a dot upgrade to the Claude series of models. And then we also have Claude Code, which is a command line interface for agentic coding. Now for Claude 3.7 Sonnet, it is a thinking model, and this is the first thinking model by Anthropic. I am pretty surprised that this is not Claude 4. And I find it a little bit weird that this jump is from 3.5 to 3.7 versus just straight to 4, which makes me think 4 is in the works and it's going to be much, much better, but we don't know that for sure. But what we do know is that this minor version increment is a big jump. This is the first hybrid reasoning model on the market. That means Claude 3.7 is both capable of generating near instant replies to whatever prompt you have in the more traditional LLM way. And it also has thinking, so it can take its time using chain of thought before replying to you, very similar to O1, O3, and Grok 3. But both of those come from a single model. Now, just like other thinking models, Claude 3.7 has a scratch pad in which it's doing chain of thought. So it's actually iterating on its thinking, it's reflecting, it's trying different potential results, and then finally summarizing everything or kind of choosing the best one and then showing it to you. And they actually do show the chain of thought, which I thought was surprising because Anthropic is kind of known for being really closed source and very big on security. Now, whether or not they're actually showing the true full chain of thought, I'm not actually sure, but it kind of does look like they are. And if you have API access, there's actually a dial in which you can tell Claude 3.7 how long to think for. And you can actually specify the number of tokens up to the context window maximum, which is 128,000 tokens, which is definitely on the smaller side of context windows. So as an API user, if you're building API applications and you're using Claude 3.7 Sonnet to power it all, you do want to specify how many tokens maximum so that you just don't blow your budget overnight. Let's look at some of these results. So this is SWE-bench verified. Here is Claude 3.7 Sonnet. This is a 20% increase versus the other models listed here. This is Claude 3.5 Sonnet New, O1, O3 Mini High, and DeepSeek R1. All 4 of these models come in right around the 49%. And then with Claude 3.7 Sonnet, we reach 70%. Now there's a caveat here. This kind of lighter pink area says with custom scaffolding. That just means they use customized chain of thought techniques and kind of wrappers around that to optimize for their specific model. And so without the custom scaffolding, we're still getting a nice 12+% increase in performance. But with that custom scaffolding, we reached 70%. Now it's also really good at agentic tool use. And so that's what we're seeing here. Here's TowBench for retail and TowBench for airline. And so these are both real world tasks where an agent is tasked with going and interacting with an API, like a retail API or an airline API. And so as we can see here, Claude 3.7 Sonnet beats 3.5 and O1 in both instances. And so right now, Claude 3.7 is state of the art. Now on some of the more traditional benchmarks, although these are all very hard, we have GPT-QA Diamond, we have multilingual Q&A, visual reasoning, we have Math 500, the Amy 2024, and Claude 3.7 with extended thinking is very competitive with the top models out there, which include Grok 3 Beta and O3 Mini with high thinking. Now, these thinking models ace my rubric, and it's time to retire them officially. It's been a fun run, but they are retired. And we get to create a new one. Right now, Alex and I are in the process of creating that new rubric, but in the meantime, I'm gonna try out a few new tests in this video to really push Claude 3.7 to the limit. And if you have any great suggestions for tests that I should put in this new rubric, let me know in the comments below. All right, so this is Claude Code's research preview. It's actually really easy to install. I'll link to the installation instructions down below. It's like 3 steps. So I'm gonna be honest, I tested Grok 3 in the middle of constructing this new rubric, and I didn't really push it as hard as I could have. And I know a lot of you mentioned that in the comments. So in this video, I'm gonna be comparing some of those tests to Grok 3 and O3 Mini to see how they stack up. So obviously Claude 3.7 can easily create the snake game. Here it is. It took just a number of seconds, really. It was very, very fast and works perfectly well. But that's not all. We're going to evolve it now. All right, so the first thing is let's just have AI control the snake itself. Let's see how easy it is to add that. So make an AI that controls the snake. Now, the one thing that I don't like about this is the fact that you can't actually see what's happening as it's thinking or as it's writing code. Only at the very end where you get the output, do you actually get to see the changes. And speaking of, here we go. So we can see all of the code was written and we have snakeai.py. Let's scroll to the bottom. Do you want to create the game? Yes. Go ahead. All right, so now it's adding all of those changes into my code base. And it should be good to go. Yep, here we go. So we can toggle the AI on or off, increase the speed, decrease the speed, and let's give it a try. All right, there it is. The AI is now controlling it. See, I'm not doing anything. Speed, AI on, pretty darn good. And it says it's using the A-star algorithm to find the next piece of food. All right, there, it made a mistake, game over. Let's keep adding to it now. Now add the ability to add a second snake to the game, also controlled by AI. All right, here it goes. There it is, 2 snakes going at each other. Snake 2 wins. Let's try it again. All right, so I can already think of a few improvements to make here. All right, next, add multiple pieces of food at a time and add an occasional superfood that allows the snake that eats it to build a temporary 4x4 block that kills the other snake if it runs into it, but not the snake that created it. The superfood block should move slowly around the field for 7 seconds. All right, there we go. There's the superfood. Oh, that's so cool. Look at that. That worked really well, actually. All right, let's play one more time. And so there it goes. The superfood kind of block is moving around. The 2 snakes are finding their own food still. And there we go. Snake 2 wins. That was very impressive. Now that we've seen what the coder can do, let's move on to Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Let's start with a really hard math problem. Let's see if Claude 3.7 can do it. I mean, this is just super impressive that I can do all this notation really easily. So interestingly enough, Grok 3, who came up with this question, gave me -1/27. And then Claude 3.7 Sonnet gave me -1/9 for the integral. And so, I'm confused which one's right. And I checked with O3 Mini and it is also -1/9. So I assume Claude was right in this instance. Now, here's the thing. You do need a paid account to use the extended thinking mode. So the previous math problem was not even in extended thinking mode, and it still got it. All right, let's give Claude 3.7 with extended thinking the Basel problem. This is something that I don't know how to solve, so I'm just gonna rely on finding the answer online. And here we go. So we can actually see the thinking. Now, one thing immediately is it's pretty fast, but I'd say it's not quite as fast as Grok 3. All right, and there's the answer. And interestingly, the result was first proven, and it actually says who it was in 1735, exactly pi²/6, which is the correct answer. Now, looking at the solution, it looks like it already knew the solution, but now I'm going to ask it to actually walk me through step by step. All right, so now we're actually seeing the step by step of how it's going to get the answer rather than I think it just knew the answer because it's kind of a famous problem. All right, and there it is. It is writing out exactly how it got there. Very, very impressive. All right, let's see if it actually has live information from the web because I don't know if it does. It's not mentioned anywhere, so I have to assume it's not, and that would be a big drawback of this model. So Apple just announced that they're investing $500 billion in AI infrastructure. Let's see if it knows about it. Look at that. So huge drawback. Knowledge cutoff of October 2024. This seems like table stakes at this point. It needs to have web access, and I hope it does soon. So that's it. It's a really good model with some drawbacks. But if you're going to be using it for coding, I think you're going to be happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.